Why does failure hurt so much? Because failure goes straight for our pride. It tells us that we're not as strong as we thought we were, and no one likes to hear that. Since childhood, we've learned that making mistakes means weakness. We've learned that failure means losing our values. We've learned that when you fall down, you should hide it, not stand up and try again. And this is exactly the mindset that holds back growth. Hi, I'm Raden, and this is the Peak Pits channel. Today we're going to talk about why we need to experience failure. Why is failure a necessity for us? So stay with me, because this episode is going to be one of our most impactful ones. We look for paths without pain. We want to reach success in the shortest time possible, with the least effort, and without making mistakes. But the reality is that success is a road paved with mistakes. A road full of falling down and getting back up again. No champion has ever been made without failure. No great mind has grown without breaking down, and no human has reached understanding without pain. Our problem isn't that we fail, the problem is that we see failure as an enemy, not a teacher. When you fail, the first thing your mind does is defend itself. It says, it wasn't my fault, the circumstances were bad. It says, others held me back. But the truth is, failure is like a mirror, not your enemy. It shows you exactly where you fell short. Michael Jordan has a quote that deserves to be written in gold. He says, I've missed more than 9,000 shots. I've lost more than 300 games. 26 times I was trusted to take the game-winning shot and I missed. I've failed over and over again, and that's why I succeeded. We only see the results. We see Jordan when he's holding the trophy, not when he's crying on the floor. We see Kobe when he's smiling, not when he's alone in the gym at 4 in the morning. We see Huberman when he's on the Mr. Olympia stage, not when he wakes up anxious in the morning and compares his sleep to the day before. We only admire the peaks, while champions are made in the valleys. The truth is, failure isn't just a moment, it's a period, a process. Sometimes it takes us a while to understand why we lost, and that understanding is the greatest reward. Failure increases your pain, but it also increases your clarity. It makes you look more closely, judge more honestly, and that's where real growth begins. But for many people, that initial pain is enough to make them stray from the path. They tell themselves, I'm not made for this, and that's where their journey ends. Not because they couldn't, but because they didn't want to endure the pain. Michael Jordan, Kobe, Muhammad Ali, Hadi Chupan, they all had one thing in common. They weren't afraid of failure, they understood it. For them, failure was just data, not a judgment, a feedback for improvement, not a threat to their pride. Chris Bumstead has an interesting quote. He says, I'm afraid of losing. I think about it every day, but it's that fear that makes me give it my all. Someone who runs away from losing never truly wins. That's what sets Bumstead apart from the rest. He uses his fear, not to run away, but to focus. The truth is, failure is not only natural, it's necessary. Failure is exactly what the brain learns from. Andrew Huberman also says that the human brain only learns when it makes mistakes and examines those moments. In other words, failure is the moment of real neural growth. That's the moment when your brain changes. So if you're not failing, you're not growing. Someone who runs away from mistakes is also running away from learning, because the brain recognizes pain as a signal for growth, not as a danger, but as a sign of progress. Failure is life's patient teacher. The first time, it hurts you. The second time, it teaches you. The third time, it makes your body stronger. And after that, something inside you changes. A calm but deep feeling. I can endure. That feeling is the birth point of true self-confidence. Not the kind of confidence that comes from others' praise, but from the understanding you gain by seeing yourself in the middle of the storm and still moving forward. Kobe Bryant once said, when you lose, don't go to sleep. Sit with it, look at it, understand it, and promise yourself not to repeat it tomorrow. This is what a champion's mindset means. Not giving up, but analyzing your defeat. We should be the same way. We need to dissect failure, break it down piece by piece to understand it. Because as long as you don't understand why you lost, you have no chance of winning. Sometimes a failure is just a superficial loss, but inside it, the seed of victory is planted. Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. They asked him, aren't you upset that you made 1,000 mistakes? He said, I found 1,000 ways that didn't work. Now there's just one way left that does work. This sentence is the essence of life. Every loss eliminates a mistake, and with each elimination, you get one step closer. No sustainable growth is possible without repeated failure. Because stability comes from experience, and experience comes from losing. When you fail, your brain wants to protect you. It tells you to give up because it's afraid. But if you stay in that moment, if you decide to analyze it, that's when your brain gets reprogrammed. This is where failure turns into fuel. The same fuel that burns you in order to build you. And this is what real growth means. So what's the solution? The solution is to understand your failure, not to forget it. Learn how to turn pain into data, how to build a path out of loss. Let me put it simply. Failure works like a GPS. Every time you take the wrong path, it just sends you a message and gives you a warning. But if you ignore that message, you'll stay stuck in the same vicious cycle for the rest of your life. To turn failure into strength, you need to do 3 things: acceptance, analysis, and reconstruction. Let's move on to the first step, acceptance. The first step is to face it, not the world, but yourself. Admit that you lost. Admit that you made a mistake. Not to humiliate yourself, but to understand no power comes from denial, real power comes from honesty. When you say, yes, I lost, it means your mind is ready to learn. For some people, it takes years just to get past this stage. They spend years caught up in explaining, justifying, or running away from losing, while acceptance is actually the gateway to real growth. Kobe Bryant used to say, when I fail, I don't go after it to hide it. I go after it to understand why it happened. It was this honesty that turned him into an unstoppable machine. He wasn't afraid of failure because he had learned how to talk to it. When you don't judge yourself, you can learn from yourself, and that's the moment when failure fears you, not the other way around. The second step is analysis, which means distancing yourself from your emotions and looking at things logically. Why did I lose? What was I lacking? What could I have done better? After every lost game, Jordan would sit for hours and analyze the footage frame by frame. Not to blame himself, but to understand. He was looking for reasons, not trying to defend himself. Bumstead does the same thing. He says that after every competition, he reviews himself, not just physically, but mentally as well. He asks himself, why did I feel a moment of weakness or doubt? Why did I lose my focus? And it's these very questions that prevent failure from repeating in the next competition. There's a scientific point here. When you analyze failure, your brain creates a new neural pathway. In other words, with every analysis, you actually make yourself stronger. Not just on the surface, but in your mental structure. Andrew Huberman says that consciously analyzing mistakes is like weightlifting for the brain. Every time you analyze your mistake, your brain learns to make better decisions. The second part, rebuilding. And now we get to the harder part, the part where you have to stand up again, where you have to rebuild trust from scratch. Not trust in others, but trust in yourself. Rebuilding means discipline. It means going back to practice with the same intensity, with the same precision. It means building a new structure out of failure. Kobe had a rule. After every loss, the next day at exactly the same time, he would go back to practice. Same hour, same gym, same focus. He said, I don't want my mind to think this was the end. I want it to know that I'm still there. On the very day he lost, he would practice again because he knew the brain shouldn't get a chance to turn a loss into a permanent defeat. Rebuilding means discipline plus faith. Discipline in action, faith in perspective. You have to believe in yourself that this time, that failure is just a step, not a wall. Muhammad Ali used to say that the pain you endure today will shape you tomorrow. It's this very pain that polishes you. Those endless practices, those lonely moments, that feeling of exhaustion telling you to stop. That's where real strength is built. But remember one thing, rebuilding isn't just for winners. It's for people committed to personal growth. It's for those who want to understand, not just win. If you're only after victory, the first failure will break you. But if you're after progress, every failure is a new step. Jordan Peterson has a famous quote that says, if you want to get stronger, you have to expose yourself to things that can break you. But the difference with a hero is that they let the blow come, but they choose to survive. Not just to survive, but to become better as well. Sometimes you need to fall so you can feel the ground, so you know what you have to get up from again, so you can understand what real strength is. Failure isn't just a lesson, it's a filter. People who only want success are the ones who get left behind in the middle of the road. But the one who understands pain keeps going until they find meaning. Because success isn't the goal, it's meaning that lasts, and meaning comes alive in the heart of hardships. Always remember one thing. Failure only happens to people who truly try. Someone who never fails has never tried. If you're failing, it means you're still moving forward. It means the game isn't over yet. You're still here, and that alone means you're a winner. Every time you fall, you get a chance to redefine yourself and prove that you can still keep going. And in the end, only one question remains. Are you ready to get back up again? Not so others will cheer for you, but so you yourself know you're still alive. When you fail, you have a choice. You can stay down and blame the world, or you can get up, hold your head high and say, next time, I'll do better. Every failure is an invitation to understand, to grow, to try again. And when you accept this invitation, you are never a loser. So if right now, somewhere in your mind, you're thinking about one of your losses, a mistake, or a missed opportunity, let me tell you that failure isn't over as long as you're learning from it. A day will come when those very wounds will turn into your points of strength. A day will come when you'll look back and say, I lost. It's a good thing I lost. If I hadn't lost, I would never have learned how to live. There is no success without failure. It has no meaning, just as light has no meaning without darkness. Losses pave the way, and it's through these very failures that you'll reach your true self. So remember, today's pain is tomorrow's fuel. Today's loss is tomorrow's maturity, and today's failure is tomorrow's well-earned victory. Just keep going. Just stay, because failure is for those who still have hope. I am Radin, and this is the Peak Pits channel. I am really glad you stayed with me until the end of this video. Until the next video, goodbye.